Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and welcome to Patch Breakdown. Now today we're going to be looking at the March 17th patch, and before we get into that, I want to kind of make a small update on my channel. If you've been watching my videos for the last like 3 weeks, you'll probably have noticed that there isn't too much like huge, great, big videos besides these patch breakdowns, and that's because I've been really swamped lately, and I had to get surgery in my mouth, and I could not talk whatsoever for a long period of time. I do have, I'm fully recovered now, and I am just, pumping out videos. I have a bunch, that are waiting. I'm waiting on, a few things, but, so there will be a lot more content coming. And, thank you for sticking with me for these, kind of like rough 3 weeks. But, that's that. And so, let's jump right into it. So, today, or not today, yesterday, or if you're watching this in the future, March 17th, we got the March 17th patch. Now, there was a few hero balance changes, not too much, but, that it's pretty much just a few bug fixes and then balance changes. So let's just jump right in. So first of all, quick melee, they decreased the damage from 50 to 30, and the cooldown was decreased from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So, as you guys know, if you've been able to play or you've watched a lot of games, melee is really good because a lot of the times, if you're trying to reload and you're struggling in this, kind of like jumping around trying not to die because you're reloading, a lot of the times you can just melee and kill them. Well, now it's going to be a lot harder to be able to just kill them with melee, and this also, it nerfs everyone's melee, but I feel like it hurts people with smaller ammo clips more, so kind of like Tracer and stuff, but it also hurts Roadhog a lot because meleeing is probably the most important on him because, you pull someone in, you shoot them as they're coming, and you melee them, and then it insta-kills a lot of people. So that's kind of a nerf to him, but, it's good because the melee was a little strong, and the cooldown being decreased is kind of a quality of life update-ish, so it makes it feel more responsive because you're never really going to be spamming just your melee. So, that's that. Bastion, during his tank mode ultimate, the duration has been reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. And that's pretty good because it's still very good. It's not that hard of a nerf. Just the tank mode seems like it lasts kind of a long time. If you use the tank, there's a lot you can do with it. You can get, a team wipe and then still have like 3 seconds left. So it's definitely welcome, and I think it'll also help the newer players that get into the game think that Bastion and Torbjorn, for the same reasons, aren't as great as they actually are. So that's good. Not affecting too much, but that's there. Then we have Genji, and Genji's health was increased to 200 back from 150, and his shuriken damage was reduced by 20%. So previously, in like 2 patches ago, they nerfed Genji and Lucio by taking 50 health away from both of them. And I thought it was good for Genji, but not for Lucio. And last patch, they reverted Lucio back and nerfed something else. And now they're doing the same for Genji. So they're trying to make it where he does a little less damage. I thought that 150 health was okay, but, we're just going to have to wait and see how this actually plays out because it may turn out working even better. So, I don't think it was necessarily needed, but they say that the last patch, or the 2 patches ago when they took the health away from him, they said it worked in balancing Genji, but they just want to try a different way to do it. Then Hanzo, his scatter arrow, the fragments will no longer be calculated as headshots against an enemy player, and this is really good, because if you played or watched, Hanzo's scatter arrow could be not very fun to play against, and now that it can't headshot, it's going to be a lot better. Or not better for Hanzo, but for people playing against Hanzo, because you're not going to be in a room and just instantly die. Because, Hanzo could use his radar, see where you are. He's like, oh, you're hiding in a building. Fire the scatter arrow, get a random headshot, and, bam, that's an insta-kill. And so it's going to definitely be a lot more fun to play against Hanzo, but that is a pretty hard nerf to Hanzo. So, but it's definitely welcome, because that was quite needed. Then we have Junkrat, and Junkrat's Riptire, the health was reduced from 150 to 100. So, with all the changes to Junkrat's Riptire, being where you can actually shoot it now without it blowing up but giving it more health, they decided that they gave it too much health, so they're kind of toning it down a little, and that was also definitely needed, because Junkrat's tire, it felt that a lot of the times, even though you could destroy it and it wouldn't blow up, it felt like it was still too helpless, because if you were just, a Tracer by yourself, 150 health is a lot to do to a moving target that's racing towards you, so that is very welcome. Then we have Mei, and Mei was in a lot of controversy this last patch because of how ridiculous she was. She was being called a sniper. I mean, it was ridiculous. So for her primary fire, just the normal frost, they lowered the time to freeze by 15%, so it's buffing that, trying to promote you to use that more. But her secondary fire, they added the damage fall off that, people like McCree and other, heroes have been getting if they seem too overpowered. So added damage fall off, and they lowered the fire rate by 15%. So she can no longer machine fire it, and it can't be a sniper. So this may have actually been a little too much of a nerf, but because they lowered the time to freeze by 15%, it may balance out. She is definitely not going to be as great as she was, though. I hope she's still playable, and if not, maybe they have to tweak the numbers a little bit more. Then we have Symmetra, and Symmetra, her ultimate charge cost is increased by 30%, and they did this for two reasons. First of all, the teleporter is ridiculous, and second of all, you got the teleporter so much that it almost felt, they said, unfun when you actually got the teleporter. It was like, oh yeah, I just got the teleporter again, and again, and again. So it actually feels more impactful and important, and it kind of, tones her down a little bit. This may actually make her not that great. So in future patches, we may have to see them buffing other things, like maybe her damage or, the amount of turrets he can have or something like that. Because I feel like these changes might have made her a little too bad. Then we have Winston, and Winston's jump pack, his cooldown was reduced from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, so you're going to be able to jump more. And they said the reason why was because in the last patch, when they practically decreased the shield's health by half and, did all this other stuff, they felt like they nerfed Winston a little too hard, and he can't really protect himself if he gets into these, out and open areas. So you're going to be able to jump 2 seconds earlier than you would before, and that's actually, I think, around a 25%, decrease in the cooldown. So that's actually really, really good because Winston's jump pack is a great initiation and escape. So that's definitely going to make Winston in a better position now. I don't think that's going to make him too overpowered. It might, depending on the numbers, it might make him a little annoying because, Tracer's annoying because she can constantly avoid damage by blinking and everywhere. It may start to be the same for Winston, but I'm not that scared about that. Then we have Zarya, and Zarya, they increased the minimum damage by 25% on her Particle Canyon, and the reason for this was because they nerfed Zarya pretty hard too in the last patch, kind of, in my opinion, randomly, but for some reason she got nerfed, and then I saw more of her, and I started to get a little more annoyed by her, but they definitely made her a little too weak than she needed to be, so, they increased the damage that she outputs, because her damage isn't that overpowered. It was the shields that she can give. So now that they toned down the shields a little bit but increased her damage, I feel like she's going to be in a very healthy place right now. She might be a tiny bit annoying, but I don't think she's going to be too strong or too weak. And lastly, we have Zenyatta's Discord Orb, and it can now be removed by immunity effects like Mei's, Ice Cube thing, Zarya's Barriers, Zenyatta's Transcendence, can't pronounce that. So it can be removed because originally, you place it, and even if you go in, like, say, Mei's Ice Cube thing, you're stuck in there. You cannot get out of, or you can't get the Discord Orb off of you, and it kind of felt annoying, and it was also really strong, because it was like you were marked for death by a single ability, and Zenyatta could just constantly switch them with a pretty low cooldown. So that's definitely nice to see. Because Zenyatta has actually been very strong lately, so I think that this is going to tone him down a little bit. He's still maybe a little too strong, but I don't see them needing to nerf it. This was more for just because that individual ability was ridiculous, not Zenyatta himself. And so yeah, that's the March 17th patch, so we got all that great stuff. A lot of it is to make, either overpowered heroes tone down a little bit, or, just to make people less annoying. So that's always nice, but we didn't see very many, huge drastic changes. But, that will become, in future patches. But right now, I feel like we are pretty good. The only thing I would say might need to be tuned around a little bit is possibly Torbjorn still. Bastion's starting to feel like an actually good hero. We're starting to see some teams pick up Bastion as an example, pocketed with a Mercy damage boosted. So we're starting to see Bastion in higher tiers of play, and he's not that ridiculous in lower tiers of play. But Torbjorn, I still feel like Torbjorn could be reworked a little bit, but I'm sure Blizzard is, watching all that stuff. So, like I said earlier, keep watching for, all the content that's going to be coming out soon. Sorry about the last 2-ish weeks. And thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more Overwatch content and news. Like always, guys, see you next time.